Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
Welcome to Overwatch Central. So it's been around 6 weeks since BlizzCon, and whilst the animated short and our new hero hacking the opening ceremony lives on in our memories, there isn't much to be said about Sombra herself in game. We briefly brought up her situation with the problem with roles video, and while she has a lot to offer, players would rather go without her. Not only that, she feels pretty underpowered, yet A, Blizzard haven't really spoken about changing her, and B, nobody has really asked for it as well. So in today's video, we're going to go over her problems at the moment, why we haven't seen or heard anything about potential buffs, and really, what the bloody hell is going on with Sombra.
So to tie up our problems specifically for Sombra, we need to go over the areas that she struggles in. It's more than the damage output and low health that causes issues, it's the unorthodox playstyle as well. We see Sombra picked up by competitive players surprisingly quite a lot of the time actually, and we all know that in the right hands she can be a mess to deal with. The issue just sort of has to do with the game itself and the constant brawls that we see. Triple tanks and quad tanks are here, yada yada, we've gone over this before, but there really is no need for a mosquito in a bear fight, right? Whilst Sombra brings her own utility to the table, it's near useless in the current climate of Overwatch.
And this brings us on to why no buffs have come in for Sombra, and for this we need to talk a little bit about Ana. Hindsight is a wonderful yet powerful thing, and when Ana was added into the game there was some touches here and there that made her a little bit more viable, but nothing too much to tilt the scales, just more quality of life changes if anything. But then once Zenyatta was nerfed with his Discord orbs, Ana found herself catapulted into the meta. These minor changes become so major that it cemented her in a position where she should always be picked if you can help it. And no doubt Sombra hasn't been buffed to avoid this thing happening again. Sombra's limits and strengths are super obvious, so Blizzard changing anything about the hero runs the risk of her becoming so problematic and so good that you just always need her on your team. With a support or tank, this is a little bit more forgiving if you look at Reinhardt and Lucia for example, but if you need a hero like Sombra constantly on your team, then the game and the meta will look more stale than it is currently. It's just the way that Sombra plays. She's more of a specialist and unorthodox pick, so if that becomes so important and so integral to your team, you end up in a similar situation but on the opposite end of the spectrum.
What you have to bear in mind though is that it wasn't the Ana changes that made her viable, it was the constant ebb and flow of the heroes around her being changed to make her a much stronger pick. We try to highlight this as much as possible in What's the Meta, that a hero being buffed and nerfed affects more than just the hero itself. There's a ripple effect, so to say, and that's what happened to Ana. Another fantastic example is Reaper, a hero that has barely been changed since the game launched in closed beta. But since then, he's become a must-pick in the Beyblade meta, as well as completely redundant in this tank-heavy meta. But he himself has not changed majorly since he was implemented. Roadhog has had minor tweaks here and there, but again, major changes in other heroes meant that he's much more prevalent now than he ever was before. It's easy to just sit and say, nerf Roadhog, he's too OP, but really, does his strength rely on other heroes? Do we need to nerf Ana over Roadhog? It's a topic for another day, but you see the problem here? Major changes in other areas might bring Sombra to light, but as to what those changes may exactly be, we actually don't really know.
So what can actually be done to fix her? Well, it's a boring and brutal answer, but it's just to wait. For one or two things really. First, the tank meta needs to die off. Whilst this doesn't have much to do with Sombra in itself, because of how zippy and low health and low damage she is, there isn't much she can do with the current climate. In that respect, Tracer is a much better pick in that situation, but even she struggles. Secondly, we need to wait and see if the pros can make use of her in a way that we can all sort of make sense of and replicate. Sombra takes a huge amount of coordination to set up, and even with the games that we've played as a 6-stat with Alpha's Sombra account, we still struggle to make an impact in some cases, where going triple tank would have worked so much better. So not only is it easy to just throw a load of tanks into the mix, but it's a lot more consistent as well. It's a frustrating situation to find yourself in if you enjoy playing Sombra, as players overall haven't really adjusted to the intricate playstyle of having her in your team. Not only that, the current playstyle is very brawly, slow, and generally just a little bit messy with triple tanks and whatever else. So really there isn't any room at the meta in for Sombra right now. We're not going to see any major changes over the Christmas period, so I expect we're going to see them early January. But that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know in the comments what you think of Sombra, whether you'd like to see her a little bit more or you just really don't care about her. Until next time, take care. We'll see you then.